Hello, I'm Joshua Unruh, your superhero scholar. A while back, I recorded some short segments for another comic book podcast on the absolute bonkers nature of comics in the earliest days of superheroes. They're still available on that show, but I thought you, my loyal listeners, might like another crack at them. They're from earlier in my podcasting career, so please forgive any lack of quality, audio or otherwise. Without further delay, welcome to my very irregularly updated new segment, What the F***, Golden Age? Hello, and welcome to another What the F***, Golden Age? I'm your host, Joshua Unruh. Astute listeners may recall that we're working on a theme for the next few installments. Our theme is Mystery Men of the 30s and 40s. If you're curious how I arrived here, the short version is I read Masks, a limited series from Dynamite Comics, and it is chock full of fascinating characters that I adore. And it also has Zorro. This is not going to be an endless series of jokes about how Zorro is super boring. It's going to be a description of who he is as a character, why he's important, and how he came to be in Masks. The jokes about how lame he is will be sprinkled throughout like a delicious spice. A quick recap. Mystery men are usually rich guys who put on a mask to fight crime and corruption. They aren't superheroes, but the superheroes who could be characterized as Dark Avengers definitely have the mystery men in their DNA. Keeping that in mind, Zorro is very possibly the first mystery man. There could be a case made for the Scarlet Pimpernel, but I feel like the masked identity and secret headquarters really set Zorro apart as the first of a model we'll become very familiar with in the coming installments. It is Zorro's primacy, in fact, that makes him so boring, but we'll get to that. The character of Zorro first appeared in 1919 as a serial in the all-story weekly pulp magazine. This first tale was titled The Curse of Capistrano and written by Johnston McCulley. Like most pulp authors, McCulley was incredibly prolific, writing hundreds of stories, 50 novels, and many screenplays for movies and television. Zorro is by far his most enduring creation, having appeared in countless stories, novels, movie serials, full-length features, cartoons, and at least 2 live-action television series. And despite nobody asking for it, he also appears in Dynamite Comics' limited series Masks. For those of you who may not know, Zorro is, in real life, Don Diego de la Vega, a California nobleman of Los Angeles who dons the black mask and outfit of Señor Zorro to avenge the helpless, punish cruel politicians, and aid the oppressed. Don Diego pretends to be totally inept with a sword and uninterested in politics in order to secretly protect the poor and indigenous people from the Mexican rule of California. He maintains a secret cave headquarters with a scientific laboratory, rides a massive black stallion named Tornado, and has a secret assistant in his mute but only pretending to be deaf manservant, Bernardo. Sometimes he even has a small legion of masked men assisting him in his battle against tyranny. All that's pretty dope, right? If there'd never been another mystery man, Zorro would still be the king of that mountain. Unfortunately, you may have noticed a few motifs in that list that will be recycled for other mystery men. Recycled, and I would say, perfected. For instance, can you think of another rich guy pretending to be useless to cover up his war on injustice? Look, as much as I love Don Diego, millionaire playboy Bruce Wayne pretty much perfected this cover story. And huge black horses with badass names like Tornado are sweet, but they aren't tricked out whips like the Batmobile or the Green Hornet's Black Beauty. No horse is going to compare with the coolness of a jet black car packed full of gadgets. Bernardo is also a great idea. Way to turn a disability into an advantage and show how dumb everyone around you is when they underestimate you. But as into this idea as I am, the Spiders' Nita Van Sloan did everything Bernardo would do, backwards and in high heels. And neither of them come close to the sensational character find of 1940, Robin the Boy Wonder. Even his legion of supporters was done at least as well by the Shadow, and eventually blown out of the water by Batman Incorporated. On the surface, Zorro should be an exciting and interesting character. He has all the hallmarks of thrilling adventures. Swords, bullwhips, a cool ride, a cape and a mask. But he's just boring. He suffers from being the first. He blazed a trail, but guys like Bill Finger on Batman and Harry Steger on the Spider would turn that footpath into a high-speed monorail. Not to mention that Zorro did all this 80 years and half a continent away from the rest of the Mystery Men. No, really. That first Zorro story was published in 1919, but took place in, at best, 1846 Los Angeles. The Spider, for contrast, was published in 1933 in a story that took place in New York in 1933. You can see how that kind of distance in both time and geography might be a problem when you get to Masks. Because you see, Zorro in Masks isn't Don Diego de la Vega with some kind of weird time travel plot. No, that would be far too interesting for Zorro. He's an unnamed illustrator with a portfolio full of Zorro drawings who comes to New York looking for work. He's arrested for being brown on a street meant for white people. And he later decides, nearly apropos of nothing, to don the fighting togs of Zorro. Oh, BT dubs, he's also already an expert swordsman. So I guess, welcome to the art school whose motto is, the pen may be mightier than the sword, but just in case, you best be ready to cut a bitch. And that will bring us to the end of this episode of WTF/GA. I hope you enjoyed this look at Zorro and are anxious to hear about the other mystery men who appeared in Dynamite's Masks. If you'd like to read the series, there will be a link in the show notes to Comixology. In the meantime, look for me on Twitter, @Joshua Unruh. You can ask me any questions, make fun of Zorro, or tell me what you think of Masks as you read it. Hashtag it WTFGA so everyone can play. Until next time, I'm Joshua Unruh, encouraging you to wonder, what the Golden Age? WTF Golden Age is a Pulp Diction Productions program and is 100% supported by listeners like you. To find out how you can keep this and our other shows in production, check out patreon.com/pulpdictionproductions. And if you can't support us financially, please leave the show a rating and review on iTunes. It's the best way to help others discover the show and join the conversation. Keep up with everything we're doing at www.pulpdiction.biz or find us at www.facebook.com/pulpdictionproductions.